From a lethal plant lady to a sinister group that even the cast wants to include, here are some villains who should really pop up in the Batman 2. First up, I've got an empty DA seat screaming one name: Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face. I bet you must have heard of this iconic Batsy baddie. Aaron Eckhart did a scarily good job with him in Nolan's The Dark Knight. Something tells me we might see Matt's version of this character too.
She trusts you. Just like Rachel did.
You see, folks, Robert Pattinson's first stint showed the previous DA Gil Colson's death. At the time, it seemed like just Riddler being Riddler, punishing the corrupt. But what if I let you in on a secret? The movie lingering on Colson's death was no coincidence. It may have been gearing up to bring Harvey as a replacement, and it makes total sense.
What exactly did you think they were gonna do?
If Gil's yin, he's the yang. The now deceased district attorney was rotten to his core, but Dent believes in righteousness and justice.
It's not about what I want. It's about what's fair!
He's just the person Mayor Villarreal needs to clear the mess. But wait, there's a twist. I don't think we'll see Dent become Big Bad Harv just yet. The sequel may just introduce us to him and let him become Two-Face in a threequel. In the meantime, he can team up with Gordon and Bruce. After all, Gotham sure needs more hands after the flooding. Many new evils may have swept along with it. One may be an eco-terrorist who would appreciate water for her vines. Any guesses who I'm talking about? Of course, it's Miss Poison Ivy. I know. There's already a semi-villainous lady in town. But wouldn't it be amazing if we added another femme fatale in the mix? Just think about it, guys. Selina Kyle and Pamela Lillian Isley. Yes, queen. A long triangle between Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Batman would tickle your fancy. Picturing them tempt Pattinson is already making me giddy. Now, I know some folks would find her too comical for Reeves' dark taste. But come on, along with her lethal looks and wit, the botanist has super deadly poisons in store. The director can use that to transform her camp vibes into sinister seduction. And you know what? Most Batman flicks keep using the same villains. It's high time we see a classic character's big screen return.
Wild oats to sow.
The last time we saw Ivy was way back in 1997. Uma Thurman charmed us with her in Batman and Robin.
Forget the geriatric bat. Come join me.
And speaking of this film, it had another ruined chilly supervillain that needs a do-over. I'm talking about none other than Mr. Freeze. Sorry to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger fans, but he did the character so dirty.
There's only one absolute. Everything freezes.
Still, no use crying over spilled milk. Now's the chance for a fresh start, hopefully. Batman 2 can use him as its next ice-cold antagonist. And what if I told you that Reeves is weighing in on it too? Yes, really. The veteran filmmaker wants to unwind the fantastical side of Bruce Wayne lore. He feels like a grounded version of Victor Freeze's story could be really powerful. Now that's what I like to hear. You're in for a ride if you're unaware of his comic story arc. It's just tragic, guys. Victor was a cryogenic expert researching to cure his terminally ill wife, but Gotham's super rich pulled the plug on the research. Cold, but predictable. Sadly, Nora Freeze died, and it became the villain origin story of Victor Freeze. As vengeance runs big in Gotham, Mr. Freeze can fit right in. Remember, he's got endless water at his disposal. He can freeze it all, adding more problems to Caped Crusader's plate. And he's not the only one. Another rogue assassin can be on the horizon too. Yes, Bat fam, it might be Bane time. The 2022 Bat flick again had some teases about it. Remember when Gotham's Guardian took an adrenaline shot in the climax? Some fans sat up straight at that. Why? Because it might be an early version of the Venom toxin, the same one Bane took in his torturous prison days. Interesting. Very interesting. But wait, I've got more curious stuff in store, courtesy of Batman 2's screenwriter, Matt Tomlin. He teased us that the sequel may use the Batman Nightfall plot. Why is that relevant, you may ask? Because in this story, Bane nearly destroys the Bat of Gotham while taking over the city. Seeing as it's on the brink of collapse, this guerrilla warrior can totally sweep in. Last, but the best hint of all, a beastly Guardians of the Galaxy actor is popping up to claim the role. Any guesses who? Well, if you thought of Dave Bautista, you were spot on, my dude. He sure fits the physical description. And knowing Dave, he can nail the intensity too.
Finger to the throat means death.
On top of this, the film had even more teases about yet another baddie, such as Hush, or as the common folks know him, Thomas Elliot. Does his last name sound familiar? If not, let me catch you up and blow your mind while I'm at it. You may remember a journalist who drove the plot of the 2022 film, more like his threats and subsequent death. His name was Edward Elliot. Get it? Something adds more fire to this connection. When the Riddler revealed the shocking Wayne connection to Edward's death, the word hush flashed on the screen. You would have thought it meant hush money, but don't tell me it's just a coincidence. Like a lot of avid stans, I think it's a reference to Thomas Elliot, the same person who took up the name Hush to go after Batman. It's a neat theory, no? Also in the comics, Thomas was actually a long-lost Bruce friend. His parents also died, but he wasn't as fortunate as the Wayne kid. That made Elliot despise the billionaire with a passion. So maybe, just maybe, Batman 2 presents the clash of the orphans. Sounds grim and intense, but that's not actually what the lead star has in mind. He's hinting at a hilarious villain. Rob's pick is the Condiment King. He's as bizarre as his name. This evil dude fights with two guns, one filled with ketchup and the other with mustard. See, a total clown. And that's no accident. Condiment King was actually a stand-up comedian who ended up being brainwashed by the Joker. Seeing as the movie has already teased its most well-known deranged baddie, maybe his pawn can pop. Matt talked about this too. He said Pattinson kept talking about how funny it would be if a baddie kept dousing someone in mustard. Not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah? Well, let me show you something, fruitcake.
That's hysterically funny, but I think the movie crew may be covering up its real villain with this gag. They have something massive in store for us. Anyone up for the Court of Owls? It's not one, but a whole band of supervillains. More like the Illuminati version of Gothamverse. It's made of the wealthiest people secretly ruling the city and controlling its ropes. They execute events to make things go their way, like the League of Shadows, but filthy rich. The sequel can expose these overlords to keep up the shocking reveals theme. Most whispers actually point to their inclusion, and it comes from the cast itself. Pattinson says he'd love to work with the Court of Owls. His co-stars Zoe Kravitz and Paul Dano also chimed in another interview. When Robert said he was guessing this group was available, Dano said they're dope. He moved on, saying that good thing it was not in it, but he and Zoe added one sentence. Or is it? I don't know if they're playing with us here, but it'll be fun to find out if the Court of Owls is to be or not to be. And that wraps up all the villains that should be in Batman 2.